Hi guys, my name is Abdurrahman Jandali and today I'll be presenting the 13 Steps by John Buchan. It is just a great novel. I have read half of it till now, but my feelings are just like going on reading because it is just an amazing thriller. In this presentation, I'll be just showing you guys some main ideas, explaining them, and teaching you some main points that you could use for your future, as you could use them like to organize your ideas and stuff like that. Now here's the first slide. It talks about what I will be explaining in this presentation. I'll be explaining the novel background, the novel's contents. I'll be explaining brief information on the novel, where I give you like the author, the date and time, etc. I'll give you I'll state actually character and character analysis, where I just characterized protagonist, antagonist, what they didn't do, and stuff like that. Now here's the amazing part: the literary significance and criticism. This is an amazing one. I won't speak anything about it till I reach it because it is just amazing. Uh, this After that, I'll go to a brief summary, which I give you like the events that happened in the novel. After that, we have a couple of slides that give you an extended summary about the novel. I won't go. I won't go through it. I'll leave. I'll just talk about some main points. And the last slide, actually, I'll be talking about questions. I'll just ask you questions. Um, and you could pause the video, do whatever you want. You could answer them by yourself, but my idea of asking you questions is just to let you like if you understood the novel or not after you read, and to use the ideas that you have read in a critical way that you could use to observe people's minds, their way of thinking. I'll just explain after like futurely. So the first slide is the novel background. The first main point is that John Buchan, the writer, he wrote the 39 steps while he was ill in bed with an illness that remained with him all his life long. The novel was the first shocker, as he called it, a story that combines personal and political dramas together. So it was really a shocker of that at that time. He described a shocker as an adventure where the events in the story are unlikely, and the reader is only just able to believe that they really happened. So he describes it um, in a in a way that he makes you like figure it out or imagine it. You know. So aren't really important in this presentation, but but those continents, those subtitles, those titles for just the paragraphs and stuff, these give you like just a main idea of what you will read. It's like just it also like moves your feelings toward, oh my God, the man who died. Wow, I'm going to read this. So it like absorbs you. It attracts you. So the third slide, I'll be talking about the brief information on the novel. So the author of this novel is John Buchan, if you recognize that in the introduction of this presentation. He wrote it in Great Britain, the events where it happened, where he wrote it in, etc. It's English language. It has the Richard Haney's series, so it's a series, a collection, or etc. The genre is a novel, thriller, of course. William Blackwood and Sons published it. It has been produced, actually, like distributed and stuff, in 1915. The figure of speech of this novel is first narrative. first person narrative, actually because of the position of the pronoun I. So here's the thing: if you didn't understand quite really, uh, when you have a story and you find the pronouns I, me, etc., like this, you could just like you will know that this because you will know that this is the first person narrative because the author or the person who wrote this talks about his himself, so it's called first person narrative. Character and character analysis. Richard Haney. So here actually I'll be talking about the characters, speaking a little bit about them, what they did throughout the novel, main points actually. Uh, the hero of this novel is called Richard Haney. He's an expatriate Scot, recently returned from South Africa. They will like talk about the author actually will talk about this in the beginning of the story. He's the protagonist and the narrator. So see, you just like found a clue that this is a first person narrative. The second character is Franklin Scudder. They actually call him Scudder in the novel. He's a freelance spy. He's the one who like I won't spoil out the adventure of this novel to let you read this only. Carolides is a Greek premier under the threat of assassination. He never appears and is alluded to only. So Carolides is the person who Franklin Scudder talked about to Hanny to protect him and stuff. I won't tell you. I'm sorry. Sir Harry is a Scottish landowner and would be politician. Um, Sir Walter Bullivant, Sir Harry's relation at the Foreign Office. So these, I can't just tell you any information about them because I've just read to half of it. I know some ideas about them, but those limit me to this point. Literary significance and criticism. So the 39 Steps is one of the earliest example of the man on the run thriller archetype, subsequently adopted by Hollywood as an often used plot device. So just the main important in this long sentence is that it was just related to Man on the Run thriller at that time. In the 39 Steps, Buchan holds up Richard Haney as an example to his readers of an ordinary man who puts his country's interest before his own safety. So one of the messages that the writer Buchan wants to like to tell you or like to get them wait go to you is that having a person that prefers his country better than his own life is really a great characteristic that someone should have. It makes people combine together. It lasts the country for decades probably. Richard Hannay continued his adventures in four subsequent books. Two were set during the war, and the other two stories were set in the post-war period when Hannay's opponents were criminal gangs. So actually, here we just talk about they talk about the stories that he like wrote and told to soldiers. At that time, there was war, so soldiers began reading this, sending him, etc. You don't need to know these exceeded information. So here's a brief summary of what I read. So when Richard Hannay, the hero of the novel, returns from a long stay in Africa for work, like it's not really important, he becomes caught up in sensational plot to precipitate a pan-European war. So how come you'll just say in your mind, how is he caught up in this? The thing I would just tell you briefly, someone was in his store, I mean like floor, and he started like convincing him, talking to him about his group's plan, etc. So he got like persuaded and stuff. So he was caught up in this idea or this whole thing, the whole thing. So after the discovery of the corpse in this flap, Hani flees the attentions of both the conspirators and the forces of the law, and the pursuit turns into a thrilling manhunt. Uh, he was set against the hot summer which precedes the outbreak of the First World War. So here we arrive at the plot summary that I wrote. It is just like really long. I'll just talk about some main points over here. Uh, so we know that so so one night he's buttonholed by a stranger, which the one who persuaded him into the whole thing. He was well traveled to America, who knows anarchists, etc. There's not even much to tell you guys, but this is really excited. I left this part so you could just pause the video and read. There are just a couple slides. I'll just leave you with a moment with them. So Scudder explains that he has faked his own death in order to avert suspicion. So Scudder is the one who persuaded Ahade. So Hani lets Scudder hide in his flat because he was persuaded. 4 days later, Hani returns home to find Scudder dead with a knife through his heart. This is a really main idea. You should concentrate on this. Um, I won't spoil things up so that you could read. I just want to attract your feelings, your thoughts, your ideas. So here's a long passage. You should pause the video, read, because it's really useful if you want to see the summary of this. So Scudder just starts to talk about assassination, someone he needs to protect. That After that, Scudder was like he suicided himself. Uh, Hani started seeing German spies watching the house. So so he acted like in a second. He still actually had, if someone is persuaded, he still has some questions to ask and stuff. So that's when he saw Scudder um suicided. He couldn't ask him, so he found his book. He took it and ran away from those German spies because he knows that the German spies like are watching the house, are looking for him. So he needs to flee to escape. So just pause it again as I tell you. Read it. Arriving at the remote station. So after he flees, he goes to Galloway. Um, on his move. He jumps off between stations. He one time like he was seen escaping. The low people, the police is at that time. They saw him. He was like a wanted man. Um, so they saw him, but thank God he escaped. So this is an adventure story. It is nice. Um, so on his way, Honey reflects on what he has learned from Scudder's notes. So we said that he took his book. We know that he took his book and started reading it. Maybe that this book answer couple actually of questions. So he knows something called Blackstone. It's just like it's an enemy group. I won't just explain things about it because this will spoil the whole thing. Uh, so he was just like he was trying to flee, and he just persuaded someone. That someone hosted him, like to help him to escape. He took the policeman's car, just stole it or somehow. It's not described, but he started like driving and escaping. But he was, you know, actually when someone's like trying to flee or escape, he does um when someone tries to escape, he does try not to make an accident, not to be seen, not to make you know, noises, not to make, you know, catastrophes that would just like be noticeable. So he crashes a car and meets a person. This person was a great person, so he didn't really shout and stuff. He didn't say like, "Look, why did you do this?" and make the, you know, the situation more noticeable. Talk to people. Actually, he just like tell. He knew him before, I think. So he invites him and offers him food and hospitality. So till here, like uh, I read till this point, so I just can't tell you more than that because that will be not my job to do. Or actually, because I just couldn't read the whole novel because it wasn't required. So before the last, here's the part that is cool. Direct and critical questions. So I just here ask you two questions. You could just read the question, not look at the answer. Do not do not just like do like this. Yep. So what do you think the narrator named his thriller novel, The 39 Steps? So why did he do that? Why did he uh name it before you started reading the novel? So before, like in the novel he'll give you clues. If you just like hold the book with your hands, you could see the book right now. You could read like the 39 steps over here. I don't know if you could see it. 39 steps. What do you think? What comes into your mind? So, yep. So actually I answered this question. Um Actually, you might say that the narrator faced a certain conflict in his adventure, so as a result, he needed 39 steps to solve it or figure a solution. You know, you don't know. Adventures are like full of conflicts and, you know, uh, something needs to be solved and stuff. But actually, um, his daughter was like going down. His daughter, she was small. She was just recently knew how to you know, count properly. So she was like going down the stairs. You know, childhood. She was like going down the stairs and counting 1 to 39. So he's like, cool. So this is like moving on step by step to reach the beach, which is like your goal and stuff. So he uses this to explain his conclusion that he finds enemy spies, the German people, the enemy group. You know, they're just like groups on the sea. I just won't spoil this. I just spoiled everything. No, but there's a lot of thing to read. I didn't say right now. So here's a question. Don't freak out when you see this, but this will really help you. Why do you think that the person that Richard met on his floor suicided? You know, Scudder. Why did he suicide in the room after he explained most of the parts of his group plan to Howdy, to Richard? Uh, you know, take a moment, concentrate, brainstorm, try to take off. I know you didn't read this story, but why do you think a person suicides after he tells another person of his plans, ideas, and stuff? So, in my opinion, I mean, like, okay, let's just read this answer. As we know that the person that Richard met and suicided himself is a group that contradicts another group. We know this, that enemy group the peace group, the good group, the bad group stuff. We might include that the suicide himself because he feared or he sensed that someone of the enemy group is chasing him. So he decided to suicide after he persuaded Richard of his group's plan and thoughts, as enemy groups still don't know that Richard has the plans. So he just like tells Richard he fears or like senses some people are just like scouting for him, looking for him. So he fears that his ideas, his group's plans might die with him. So he just like tells it to another person, persuades him. This person might do the right thing. Like that's a good solution. Here's another solution. Answer. Um, We also don't know. He might fear that Richard might speak of it and lead the enemy group to this shelter and capture him. So after um uh, Scud after he persuaded um Richard, you don't know, a person always talks about things and stuff. This person actually might speak to a wrong person, tell these ideas to wrong people. They might like capture him, torture him, and tell him, "Who's the person who told you?" These action movies. So we also okay, we're at this, but as a result, so finally, um, actually, we readers still don't know the purpose of his suicide, Scott's suicide, but we can include that he's a person that prefers his country's safety on his own life, which is a great characteristic that a person should have. So, as I said, nobody till now knows, because the narrator or John Butchin didn't include in his uh novel. He didn't write any information about why did he suicide, so I just can't give you a certain answer. But you could like brainstorm, you could analyze this, you know. And the last point that you could include of the message that John wants to, you know, go to you to have to let you have it in mind that a person that prefers his country is just an honorable person. It is a great characteristic to have to follow. And I think that's everything I could just tell you guys because actually I read till half of it, so I just can't include lots of things. It's just a great novel. I really do actually I really do try to persuade you to read it. It is nice. Uh, Here's the book. If you could see. Um, it's like a great book. And thanks you for thank you guys for watching. Uh, I've got these links below. So the first link is just for the book. If you want to print it, read it actually as a PDF or something. Support these people. I don't know, do whatever you want. And um, the number two is the Wikipedia that gives you more information if you were like interested. So yeah, if you're like more interested in this novel, you could just click on or just type it. I don't know if you could. No, you can't. You couldn't. I'll try to send this video to you, Mister. So yeah, thank you very much.